going to swing this thing over to the AFC. Texans, Patriots are going to feature two young quarterbacks in C.J. Stroud and Drake Maye. We pick this game now. Who do we like better, the Pats or the Texans, RC?
I like the Houston Texans. I don't expect C.J. to have some of the issues he had with the snap and fumbling in the pocket this week. I think this is going to be a huge defensive battle, but that front of the Houston Texans, the hitting ability and lateral quickness of those backers and that back end in a way that they turn the football over. I think the Houston Texans win a close one in Foxborough.
Cam, who you like?
I'm going with New England Patriots. Drake Maye and co has been playing at a high level all year, and I don't too much or haven't heard of the situation with Nico Collins. Will he be available or not, getting cleared for the concussion? All those things considered, I have to go with the hot team at home. And given, what we've seen from C.J. Stroud, it's going to come down to how he performs in that type of dynamic, given that the defense that he has and that he's equipped with will give him opportunity. Does he maximize on those opportunities is the biggest question.
Okay.
I've been raving about the Houston Texans all year long because their defense is real. It is spectacular, make no mistake about it. But C.J. Stroud hasn't been himself, and we know that. We know the guy that was lights out in year one, he hasn't been that guy for a while. And even though I believe in him and I believe his future is still very, very bright, I think this is a tall task, particularly with Nico Collins going out. It wasn't just once, but twice he had to leave the game the other night, RC. You remember that because of, from some that concussion feeling, and you need him. But I also think we got to take a moment to talk about New England from the standpoint. It's not just about Drake Maye. It's about Diggs and Henry in the intermediate game. It's about Boutte and Williams with the deep game. It's about Stevenson and Henderson running the football. They've got some weapons, and if you remember, looking at Houston at times when they have, on a rare occasion they have struggled, it's when they've had to go against a quarterback with the ability to run. That was not Aaron Rodgers on Monday night, obviously, but that will be Drake Maye this weekend. And I think that ultimately it will be a close game. Please don't get me wrong, because the defense is going to make it that way. I consider it to be a low-scoring game, but I also think there's a lot for Houston to overcome in terms of their offensive deficiencies. The defense is going to do its job. I don't know if the offense can. And all New England's going to be able to do is make a couple of plays to win. It wouldn't be surprising to me at all if this was one of those 13-10 games, 16-13 games, something like that. But I do expect New England to walk away victorious.
Nico Collins is still in concussion protocol, so that's not to say he can't be cleared by the time game time happens on Sunday, but it's not looking likely considering he is still in the protocol. I feel like all we've said all season long is that the Pats are not tested. Even against the Chargers, it felt like maybe that was a weaker link in the Chargers. They're finally going to be tested against the Houston Texans, and I think
at Foxborough, that's our game on Sunday. We'll all be there for what is the early game Sunday. Joe, best bets.
Game pick is Houston +3. Best bet is under 40.5. Drake Maye, the MVP in the eyes of many, has only played 4 games this season against teams with a winning record. In those games, 2-2 straight up, 2-2 against the spread, only 3 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions, and 17 sacks. You know this defense can get after it. Both teams rank in the bottom third in the NFL in pace. They take a lot of time from the end of the previous play to the start of the next play. We want to see that clock running if we're betting an under.
Lewis, you're the only one on the Patriots here. How do they win?
Look, I think this comes down to coaching. It's a 3-phase game, right? Look, I believe in Mike Vrabel. I believe in Josh McDaniels. I think they're 2 of the very best coaches in the NFL, regardless whether you're a head coach or just a coordinator. I think Josh will manufacture enough offense against this defense in order for their defense to then turn around and frustrate what is a Houston Texans offense that's very up and down right now.
Historic defense with the Texans, and I think what we saw on Monday night has to scare everybody around the league. This is one of those where it could be one of the lowest scoring games of the weekend. To Lewis's point, I think that Houston offense just cannot get in the way of the Houston defense.
I mean, you talk about pace of play, right? The equalizer for that is possessions, right? Because possessions are precious. C.J. Stroud played one of the worst football games I've ever seen from a quarterback. So just like we talk about Bo Nix in the other game, man, C.J. Stroud, man, we talk about, we thought after his first year that he was the next coming. Man, he has to play a lot better.
He had 5 fumbles on Monday night against Pittsburgh. They lost 2 of them. Final word.
Something people, I would say, looked over this season. Drake Maye was sacked fourth most in the National Football League, 47 times. Took 5 sacks last week. Sometimes it's the offensive line. Sometimes it's him holding the football. You're going against that defense. Give me the Texans.
All right. It all comes down to this, and we will be there. It's our game on Sunday.
Arnold, some new news.
He emerged on the injury report today, listed as questionable with an oblique injury. Sam Darnold told reporters that he heard it during practice. He came inside to get treatment on it, and he does anticipate playing Saturday night versus the 49ers, but you wonder if that oblique injury will be any type of factor in a game in which the 49ers will not have their Pro Bowl linebacker, Fred Warner. Even though he was trying to come back from a dislocated and fractured ankle, the 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan said today the team is not expected to activate Warner off of injured reserve in time to play Saturday night. If somehow the 49ers could find a way to win Saturday night, Warner could make it back for the NFC Championship game. Meanwhile, Nico Collins, the great Texans wide receiver, not at practice today. It certainly seems like a sure thing that he's not going to be playing on Sunday on a short week when he's in concussion protocol and had to be carted off the field on Monday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers due to that concussion. So the Texans are going to have to make do without Nico Collins in a game it looks like the Patriots will be getting back their outstanding cornerback Christian Gonzalez from concussion protocol. He was a full participant in practice, and barring a setback later this week, it looks like he is tracking to play Sunday against the Texans.
That is no doubt big news.
Last time they got a chance to go against this offense, I think when it comes to them and throwing the ball with Brock Purdy, is packing that middle of the field and understanding the route concepts that are trying to beat you. You got to watch these inside defenders. As soon as they get cleared, you see them dropping back to the middle with vision on the quarterback. Now here, Thomas comes off, he sees the ball thrown, makes a big hit. Same thing here. You're going to watch right in the middle. Jones comes straight back, taking away the middle of the field. Then right next to him, Witherspoon, they're communicating. He drops back to the middle, forces the check down, and they run and hit just as good as any defense in the league. Right here, you're going to see how these guys work almost on a string. When one moves, the other one is moving right with him and reading the eyes of Brock Purdy. Now you see the routes. All right, if he's matching that low one, I now have to get to the one behind it, nowhere to go with the ball, and that's where the sack comes.
Which side you like, Joe?
Seattle -7. This is a brutal spot for the Niners. You got to play in Philly on the East Coast Sunday afternoon. Then you got to go to Seattle 6 days later against a team that's had 2 weeks to get ready. Situation advantage for Seattle. On top of that, Sam Darnold's kryptonite, pressure, something the Niners don't generate. Since week 3, when Nick Bosa was lost for the season, Niners ranked 31st in the NFL in pass rush win rate. On the other side, no George Kittle for a Niner offense that's generated just 20 points in 2 games against the Seattle defense. It's only giving up 17 points per game on the season. This game could get ugly.
All right, the Nuggets keep on coming in the playoffs. The Seahawks, by the way, 5-0 outright as a favorite when they were favored by at least 7 points. Okay?
Nuggy.
All right, this is what we